catch my breath. A shadow chasing me, a game of hide and seek. If hell now have a
All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Just a quick reminder, if you dig the intro music and the intro music to the after party, which I accidentally hit first because I had it covered up and didn't realize it, then you can hit the links down below to the SoundCloud links that I have for all of my music. That is me, by the way, the singing and all that stuff, and also the outros and all the music on the show is me. And also Mikey's got his own little projects going too on SoundCloud, which is also linked below. And of course, this gentleman right here, Mr. Ethan Lawless, has joined us for the show. Joined me. Mikey can't be here till the after party because, well, he's a new dad and he's got a little one he's got to take care of. So we fully understand that. But Mr. Lawless has joined me for this episode. And down below are some links you can hit up to find Ethan out there on the interwebs, on the TikTok there. And I think I also have your Twitter. And we're going to add the Instagram later because he's currently going live on Instagram right now while we're doing this. We're everywhere now. We're on Instagram. We're on Instagram now. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. We're everywhere. Anyways, Ethan, brother, how you doing? Welcome for now.
Until Meta pisses me off just a little bit more, and then I won't be on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, no, kind of tired of that bullshit. I don't really even use my Facebook anymore, unless because I still get notifications saying, "Oh, it's so-and-so's birthday."
Today, it's the first time I've checked it in like a week. I don't pay attention to Facebook, and I'm on Instagram because Instagram doesn't ban me for going live. I can show my pew-pews, I can show my knives, I can say whatever cuss word I want, and Instagram does not shut me down.
Excellent, good. Well, I don't really think they're as harsh as say TikTok. So,
all right,
but anyway, all that bullshit aside, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, I appreciate it.
What we do here is chat with folks about how they found their way free from whatever belief systems they were once a part of. Or if you don't really have much of a deconversion story, we also talk about how much religious influence we had in our life and what that did for us as people. Did it make us a stronger atheist? Did it kind of make us think, geez, maybe there's something to this? So basically, if you have some sort of a deconversion story, then just take us into that little realm and tell us all the blocks that fell and you found your way out.
Well, I try to empathize with people who have deconstructions that involve like evangelicalism or cult-like behavior. Right. I did not have that as a kid. I didn't come out of that kind of family. I came out of like Methodist. And the only reason we even went to church is because my mom was trying to impress her mother.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only reason she made us go to church. Is every time we went to church, she would call her mom and brag about how we went to church. And I was like, why are we going to church? You obviously don't care about what's being said.
Right.
And out of four, I'm the oldest of four kids. I'm the only one that was not confirmed.
Oh, wow. What's the reason for that?
Questions. I asked too many questions, and I got kicked out of confirmation class.
I've been there, man, but for Hebrew school.
Yeah. But at one point in my mid-teen years, like about 14, 15 years old, I was in and out of juvenile facilities, and I was having a hard time just adjusting to what was expected of me. I decided that maybe being a better Christian was the answer. So I sat down, full intent on becoming a better Christian, and I read the Bible word for word without somebody in my ear telling me how to interpret it.
Right.
And I just immediately became disgusted with the behavior of the character of God as described in the Bible, the Old Testament.
Totally.
From 2 Kings, where he murders 42 kids with 2 bears because they made fun of a bald prophet, to hardening the Pharaoh's heart in Exodus and preventing the Pharaoh from allowing Israel, and the Passover, the murdering of the firstborn children. I mean, there's nothing benevolent or loving or caring or kind or just or merciful about the God in the Bible. And that was like my first step into just leaving the religion behind, was when I got to that point, when I started really understanding what it was I was looking at.
Right. So you even did the Old Testament, eh?
Yeah, I read all of it. I read all 66 books from front to back.
Oh my goodness.
And I've done that 3 times total, except the second and third time I skipped portions of the Bible where like you have like the begats, the list of family members.
Yeah.
And
Nobody
that's
needs
like
that.
100 pages of wasted fucking energy. I skipped past those, but the meat of the overall story I read 3 times.
Wow.
So,
what do you think
I
of some of the more?
I still use the internet. I don't have like a copy of the Bible now, but I use the internet to peruse and go through things like Leviticus and Exodus and other stories in the Bible to kind of refresh myself once in a while. But I hate that book. To me, that book should only be looked at in the same way we look at Shakespeare, just as literature, and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I agree. Totally, I agree. I think, well, in my opinion, anyways, all religions are mythologies, anyways, that people just believe. Right. So,
yeah.
And so, like, for me, it's the same thing.
Get out of my teen years and I get into my early 20s and I start to like read history. Mm-hmm. What has the church accomplished in 2,000 years? Well, actually, the church is only, 1,500 years old? What has the religion accomplished in 2,000 years and the church accomplished in 1,500 years? Well, it has colonized every continent on the planet and subsequently genocided hundreds of thousands of indigenous tribes of people. Mm-hmm. It spread war, famine, disease, and stupidity and ignorance amongst every society it's been a part of. Mm-hmm. It's just, Dark Ages, Crusades, Salem witch trials, Inquisitions. Like, it's just a never-ending parade of shit. Mm-hmm. And so there was more of that, separate myself from the religion. And about that time is when I started taking on the label of atheist.
Okay.
Get into my late 20s and I start to develop kind of an interest in science. So neurology and astrophysics are my 2 favorites. Okay. And the more I understand about these things, the less I give any credence to any God claim at all. And even further to that point, I will take on witchcraft. I will take on Islam. I will take on any idea or ideology that has anything to do with supernatural claims. I'll take them all on.
Fucking 3 in a row there. Yeah, I hear you, man. I try to do the same thing. Tackle all that stuff, like even what do you call it? Like stuff like crystal healing and astrology and all that other fucking nonsense, right? Because people believe that stuff, and it seems harmless, but there could lead to harm. So
the thing is, overall, in general, I think things like witchcraft are generally harmless. The problem I have is that with all things like these types of things, it ends up becoming a bad game of telephone. And so this harmless witch here who's just mixing herbs to make her apartment smell pretty has somehow influenced this witch down here who is now using these same herbs to cure cancer.
Right. Exactly. And that's a problem, because if they spread this stuff around, and just mix this and this and this with a little bit of linseed oil or whatever the fuck, and you can put it on every fucking cancerous tumor you have on your skin and it'll go away. No, it fucking won't. No. Right? Stick to actual medicine. Like, that's my issue with it. That. I
don't think that beliefs deserve respect inherently. I balk at that claim, at that idea, and I don't know where we got it from. It's hard to pinpoint that specific idea in history, but somewhere along the line in American history, this doesn't apply to other like countries and cultures, but in American history, 2 things happened, and I can't figure out exactly where. Christianity became synonymous with good, and I don't understand that. I don't get that at all.
It's because it's a good, loving God and Christ and yada yada.
Well, Jesus in the Bible is supposed to be God, right? Incarnate. He's God on earth in human form. That God is unchanging. That God is supposedly unchanging. So he's the same God of the Old Testament. There is no difference. And nothing Jesus says refutes the behavior of God in the Old Testament.
Right.
So Jesus is still the same immoral shit stain that God was in the Old Testament. There's no difference. Except he recalls a few stories. He recalls, that's the thing about Jesus' thing. He recalls behavior that humans already had. He doesn't invent these ideas in the Bible. He just talks about them as if they've already existed, for like the Good Samaritan story.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling a story about human behavior before he was even born.
Right.
So Jesus isn't the moral character, and I have no idea where that idea even came from.
I don't know, but they sure
Christianity
figured
has
it
never
out some
once
way.
been synonymous with good.
Well, I don't think it is. So
I don't give credit to these types of claims. I can't do it. The smallest claim will snowball. We've seen it. You and I went to high school. I mean, something happens on Friday, you come back on Monday, and it's a completely different story. And it's something just small. It's just like an argument that happened in the hallway is now this big fight on Monday. And that's how all of this stuff acts. All of these things behave this way. That's why I like science. Because science and the scientific method stops that from happening.
Right.
It doesn't snowball. If people listen to the facts and understand it, it doesn't snowball into something that it isn't later.
No.
It's when people reinterpret or misinterpret what's being said that causes.
And the only thing that overturns science is better science.
Right. Exactly. So. But with witchcraft or with beliefs that are based on mysticism and supernatural whatever, it can be anything. It can snowball in any direction. And there's nothing to stop it. I mean, what's that actress's name that has that stupid website where she tells you to stick jade rocks in your hoo-ha?
Is that
what the hell's her name?
That's not
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
She's got a whole website dedicated to cures. And people buy that shit.
Actually. Oh, yeah, of course they do. They want to. It's cheap and easy, and hey, you never know. But no. This just stick to making your vagina scented candles, and you're good to go there. Yeah,
the human body is an amazing thing.
Oh yeah,
the human body is an amazing thing. If you eat when you're hungry, you're fine. If you sleep when you're tired, you're fine. You don't need to take these detox supplements. All of this is nonsense, and all of it's bullshit. Your liver and your kidneys detox your blood. You don't need a detox mix to do that for you.
It won't do anything.
The human body does
you can't
all of these things on its own. And yet pharmaceutical companies and people who want to make money will convince everybody of this bullshit over here. And so like the smallest claim from anybody, whether it's witchcraft, whether it's, some jackass talking about how he thinks gender dysphoria is a mental illness.
Yeah.
It's a real problem, and we have to have better science communicators out here helping us with this. So that's why I like Forrest Valkai, love him. There's a couple of others out there that are really good. We need better science communication and better science education here in the United States.
So Michael's like, you mean sunning my taint does nothing? Sorry, Michael.
Oh, sunning.
You're gonna have to keep that to yourself.
Call that shit? Yeah, what do they call that shit?
No idea.
Sun your asshole. What is that called? It's so dumb. And people just believe that shit, dude. It's hysterical how gullible people can be.
Of course. Are these people that claim they haven't eaten in like a year or something? I'm like, yeah, fuck you. You haven't eaten. Oh, I had a guy try to convince me that they haven't even had water. I'm like, no. Oh, yeah.
We know that most of them are lying. They're full of shit. 3 days without water and you start to die. Your body shuts down.
Yep. Yeah, I had a guy try to convince, oh, no, this guy lived for a long time. He didn't even drink any water for like 3 weeks. I'm like, no, dude, that's not possible. If he told you that, he lied to you. He just swallowed his own spit. That doesn't fucking work, idiot.
In my last live, I had a debate with a woman who was convinced at the claim, because she's evangelical, She was convinced at the claim that you could grow an appendage an inch because they did it at her church.
What?
You heard of this?
I have not heard.
Have you heard of these
grow an
claims
appendage
by
an
somebody
inch?
a Pentecostal? Yeah, a Pentecostal preachers will bring somebody up on stage and they will align their shoulders or some other goofy shit like this, where one hand is shorter than the other.
Grade school.
Yeah, I tried to explain how that's done. When you sit down and you shift your hips just right, you can shorten one leg and then shift your hips and it'll look the same length. And she wouldn't let it go, man. I tried to explain it to her in my last live on TikTok, and she just, people are just dedicated to believing bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know. It's almost like it's an innate property or something. I remember doing that as a kid. You can go, hey, look, my arms are the same. Now watch this. Oh, wiggle this one, make it. Look at that. It's even longer now. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, I blame our infancy, right? We are a very young species on this planet. Out of all the other species that exist, we're probably one of the youngest. And when you look at how our society has developed, we're only written language, what? 5,000, 6,000 years?
Yeah, something like that.
And I mean, we only have large societies for maybe 20,000 years, considering our history is 300,000 years old. And philosophical science is 1,500 years old. Modern technological science is 75-ish years old. Like,
well,
you know, the radio was
in the
made.
past couple hundred.
Yeah. My point is, like, we're really young and we don't know jack shit really, but we have an idea about the nature of reality, but we're stuck on this rock right here, right now. So verifying half the ideas we have, I mean, we're still a young species. I think we still give into our emotional fear state too often. And that fear state can lead us down a myriad of different paths and issues like anger, resentment, hatred. I mean, you get a lot of that with the white supremacist crowd.
Yep.
They're afraid of what they don't understand. It's fairly simple. You know, the homophobia, transphobia, all that stuff comes from fear.
Yep. Certainly.
Our inability to admit that we have no control.
Yeah, it's and when do they learn that really there aren't really white people? We're all just the same. We just have different shades based on where we are on the globe where we evolved.
I get a kick out of every time I hear somebody talk about the first Homo sapien was a black woman, and like I've seen it in a few comment sections of videos like that where people just lose their shit. Mm-hmm. Like it's true. There's a likelihood that is a true statement, and yet people still lose their minds over it. Like why are you angry about that? What it doesn't even affect you. It's just a cool thing to know about the history of humanity. It doesn't impact you in any way. Why are you angry about it?
I don't fucking know. They're so easily upset over that kind of shit. It's like, yeah, dude, I hate to break it to you, but our species came out of the cradle of Africa. That's exactly all there is to it.
And the only difference between race is the amount of melanin in your skin. It.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some,
outside of culture. I mean, I both love and hate. Well, I both love and hate culture. To me, culture is beautiful in a lot of ways, but it comes with baggage. We tend to lean on traditions too hard, and that prevents us from progressing. I mean, any given society, from progressing socially. It's like a ball and chain. And like here in America, the biggest ball and chain we have is Christianity.
Well, religion in general can be a ball of chain. So,
I mean, culture plays a part of that too, because religion is very tied into different cultures.
Absolutely, it is. Right. It's like I tell people, I'm an atheist.
I'm an anti-theist, so my attitude towards that is I don't give a fuck. Burn it all down.
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was raised Jewish, so I still consider myself culturally Jewish, but I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God, but I still celebrate with the family, all the holidays and stuff like that. Even though some of the stuff, with the biblical stuff, I just roll my eyes and really bugs my sister, but I just keep doing it. But she's big into it. So
as far as the three Abrahamic religions go, while Judaism is not innocent, it's of the three, to be honest, it's light. Christianity and Islam are pretty rough. I think, like, if you go back far enough, Judaism, when it was all tribal and polytheistic, you would have an argument against mankind for that type of religious belief, right? Because it was inspiring wars between tribes. But if you look at Judaism now, as the oldest of the three Abrahamic religions, it's mellow compared to Christianity and Islam.
It is, absolutely. And I'm also an atheist. I'm an atheist and an atheist. They're two different things. Atheism is why are we even discussing the existence of God when nobody can give me a straight answer of what God is? So I find it useless to talk about it. It's unambiguous and just convoluted bullshit that people have. Every person's got their own version of what a God is. So
one of my favorite pastimes right now is to scroll TikTok live, find a live with like 6 Christians in it, and listen to them fight over their fucking theology. I get it tickles me fucking pink to sit there and listen to Christians disagree about everything regarding their theology. Well, there isn't a Trinity. Well, there is a Trinity. Well, Jesus did this. Well, Jesus didn't do that. Just back and forth. And the Bible says this. No, the Bible says that. And it's just, I love it because the more they invite about whatever it is they believe in, the better it is for the rest of us.
Yeah. And I'll address on Jer's point. This is very, very true. Hasidic Judaism is the ultra religious. Like they're like as far a Jew as you can be. And they have actually, when I lived in Israel, I went to one of their little cities in Jerusalem. It's called Mea Shearim, and you can actually buy T-shirts at the shuk near there that says "I got stoned in Mea Shearim." And if you're in there on a Shabbat and you're smoking, they will throw rocks at you from their balconies, trying to hit you, like literally trying to knock your ass out. It's that bad.
My first ever run-in with extreme Judaism, and I have seen it. I just think that it's like stupid rare, but I have seen it. Is when. And was it? I don't think it was religious. I don't remember where I saw it, but it was these 2 rabbis who refused to sit on a plane next to a woman.
Oh yeah.
And that blew my mind. Like I didn't know that Judaism could get that extreme. And then, but this was years ago, back in like 2006, 2007, when I first ran into that. So it was like, okay, so I guess there's going to be extremes in any version of any mythology.
Any demographic.
But I don't see Jews knocking on people's doors at 10 a.m. I don't see Jews writing legislation that, basically is trying to genocide an entire people group, transgender community. I don't see Jews violating constitutional rights the way evangelical Christians are. And on the same note, if I go to countries overseas, Islamic countries, women in Iran is it Iran? Yeah, it's Iran right now that are fighting for their rights and everything else. Like, I don't know that Jews do that kind of stuff to the same degree that Islam and Christianity do.
No. Well,
that was my point.
Very, very, very small number. You've got some small number of
extremism in any mythology, but Christians basically made a fucking art form out of it.
Yeah, that's true. It's usually political stuff within Israel that you see the harshness of the extreme Judaism.
Yeah, I have never been to Israel.
I've been there. I lived there for a couple of years.
Is that any different than Christian dominionism? Is that like the same thing?
Just a different version of it. Dominionism is dominionism no matter what you do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I joined the Satanic Temple in 2021 because I got a chance to talk to a few satanic members of the Satanic Temple. I got to really research and look at like what they stand for. They're about us, the 7 fundamental tenets. And while I'm not religious and I don't agree with religion in and of itself, I do agree with the Satanic Temple in a lot of what they do.
Oh, fuck yeah.
They're an atheist group fighting for civil rights. If you really wanted to break them down into anything, that's what they are. And we use satanic imagery to
scare the shit out of them.
Scare the shit out of people and make them pay attention. And it works. It works.
Yeah.
I mean, we've fought a lot of school boards and stuff because like Christians want to always jump into public school, and we win because as soon as we get involved, Christians back off and step away, and that's the point. You're not supposed to mix religion in school.
That's right. Well, religion and politics, religion and government, he's not supposed to mix any of that shit. But they can't
Not
help
in a free country, not in a nation built on liberty.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
and religious freedom.
If you want a theocracy and you want your country to look like North Korea, be my guest, just not here.
They fled that type of life to get here to start over again without it.
Yeah, Christian Puritan. Well, I don't know. Christian Puritans were kind of anal retentive.
Yeah, I'm talking about the majority of them that fled England.
I've heard both sides of that story, and I've heard both sides of the story. Like, yes, I think Britain was probably fairly tyrannical with certain things. And yes, I think Christian Puritans were probably anal retentive assholes. I think both sides are fucked.
It was the Puritans that started the whole Thanksgiving thing, I guess, with the First Nations peoples and stuff like that, right?
The whole thing was built on a lie, though. I spent my whole life thinking Thanksgiving was this thing, and then I get a history lesson on TikTok of all places, and I'm like, wait a second. And then I started fact checking and doing my own research. And I'm like, okay, Thanksgiving is fucked.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yep, it's not what it's made out to be. That's for sure.
No. As far as the 7 fundamental tenets for the Satanic Temple go, my favorite one, I believe, is number 5.
No.
One's beliefs should conform to the best science evidence, and we should not do anything to distort that evidence in favor of a belief. I paraphrase the shit out of that, but essentially that's what it is. That's my favorite one. But
I had it written down somewhere, but it's amongst all the garbage. But
I can.
Okay, so the fundamental tenets, which apparently aligning more closely with the 9 satanic statements, 9 satanic sins. Anton LaVey, I guess, came up with this stuff in the Satanic Bible. Oh
no, that's not it. You're looking for Lucian Greaves in the Satanic Temple. The Satanic Church and the Satanic Temple are 2 different organizations. Lucian Greaves was kind of
this is Satanic Temple.
Complicated person. Or not Lucian Greaves, sorry. Anton LaVey was a complicated person. Yes, beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. That's my favorite of the 7 fundamental tenets.
Number 5, the beliefs should conform to, I kind of like one should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason.
Yep.
Which we don't see much of these days, do we?
No, we see the exact opposite. I spend a good portion of my time on TikTok arguing with people who refuse to. So, like, here's the thing we understand about transgender. It's a physiological aspect of the brain. During the development of the brain in the uterus during pregnancy, there is a period of time where the fetus is inundated with hormones. Now, typically, a male fetus will receive a load of testosterone during the development of the brain. What happens with transgender people is the male fetus will receive a load of estrogen during the development of the brain. And so what you end up having is a female brain inside of a male body. And that's what creates the gender dysphoria. It isn't a mental illness. It's a physical aspect of the brain. And that's what transgender is. And when the American Association of Psychologists, when the American Association of Pediatricians, when the Endocrine Society, I mean, therapists and doctors, I mean, there's so much about being transgender that has been researched and looked at and peer reviewed. The available information, there's mountains of it. And I constantly on the daily deal with people who don't want to hear any of it. They think it's just liberal woke science and it's all bullshit. And so it's constantly a battle to try to educate people who don't know how science works. They'll give science all the credit in the world when it comes to communication, transportation, food, clothing, shelter, everything like that. But when it comes to understanding evolution or humanity or society, then they call bullshit on science. And I'm just like, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Now, there's a lot of sides on this. You know what? And I'm finding, just looking this up, I'm finding contradictory stuff. You know, like Stanford Medicine says there's no real difference between men and women's brain. You know, and then other places have, they say, there is no male-female brain.
My information could be outdated, but I do think that there's the spectrum you're looking at is male to female and everything that's in between that. That's the spectrum. On this side, you have female, and on this side, you have male, and everybody can fall somewhere in between what that spectrum is. And that includes your sex chromosomes, that includes your gender, which is a social construct, and everything
it's a bunch
falls
of things
within
mixed,
the spectrum.
as far as I know.
Right. And so, is there a physical difference between male and female brains? I mean, yeah, estrogen is going to have
11% more in men.
Well, I think estrogen is going to have a different impact on your overall body and your brain, and testosterone is going to have a different impact on your body and your brain. I mean, studies have shown that a trans woman who has been on hormone replacement therapy for longer than a year is no more physically capable of doing push-ups than a cisgender woman.
Right.
It was a study from somewhere in the UK. I can't remember the name of it. I've quoted it a few times on TikTok, but it showed.
I think I've seen one of those.
They did a study in the U.S. Air Force. That's where they did the study.
Right.
And in the U.S. Air Force, you have to do a PT test every 6 goddamn months, right? So push-ups, sit-ups, and a run. You have to run a distance. Now, the only difference between trans women and cisgender women after a year of hormone replacement therapy is that they ran faster, like by 19%. Trans women were 19% faster in the run than cisgender women were. Otherwise, their push-ups and sit-ups, there was no measurable difference.
Right. And there's actually, they've shown women that have been on, or trans women that have been on, well, they're still women in my mind. Anyways, those women that have been on the HRT that were in races that were actually beat by cis women. So they didn't get that 19% you were claiming.
There's been maybe 2 transgender athletes, I think, that actually medaled. 2. Yeah. But notice the hypocrisy of this entire debate. They never, ever bring up trans men. It's always women.
Yeah,
They never bitch about a trans man going into a men's bathroom.
No, you don't really hear that.
They never bitch about a trans man participating in men's sports. So that leads me to believe that this is nothing more than, what is it called? Virtue signaling. Because somewhere in their head, they think men are stronger than women.
Not all the time, my friend. Not all the time.
No, it's not even true most of the time. If you meet a woman that has gone through training and done the work, she can keep up with men in her weight class. You see it in other countries, like in Thailand.
this is what I was going to say, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure we're talking with like authority of any kind. We're just mentioning things that we've found that talk about this by people who do have the authority to talk about this sort of thing, like medical, clinical, that kind of stuff.
No, I don't try to speak for trans people. All the information I have, I got from trans people. So I'm only echoing what they've told me.
Yeah. But also, I just don't think, I mean, this is one of those situations where, like, I think we should talk about it, because I think the more people talk about it, maybe the more understanding there is for it, and more people might learn some things, regardless of who it comes from, and that might help to smooth things over. But I do agree with Andrew. I think without having somebody that's trans here with us to talk about this, that may actually know some stuff we don't, and say, well, actually, I got this here, this study you can see. I think maybe that is something. And there's always trans folks that hang out in the after party. So we will have people that would be happy to talk about this. If I'm wrong about anything,
I would love to be corrected, because I don't think I know it all.
Sure.
I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I get it, man. It needs to be normal. People just need to forget, like, just they're human beings, and they are who they are, and that's all there is. Show love, not disdain for people, right?
Right. Somebody being trans or identifying as non-binary has no physical impact on me in any way, shape, and or form, good, bad, or otherwise. Right. So I don't understand why I would want to waste my precious energy hating anybody.
Right. Exactly.
Like, what value does that bring to my life? Being hateful of people
just makes them all grumpy and shit. And hey, they're the ones that got to hold on to that shit. I don't give a fuck. It's
that said, I do advocate for knocking Nazis the fuck out on site.
So do I.
I saw a video, I think a month ago or so. Is this black content creator? She was recording as she was turning through an intersection. And as she's doing that, she's recording this Nazi in a full black military outfit with that Nazi red armband thing.
Yeah.
And the only image I could imagine was me walking the opposite direction through that intersection and just rocking him in the fucking jaw. And I don't like violence. I tend to avoid violence if at all possible.
Sure.
But Nazis got it coming. We have fought a minimum in the United States. We have fought a minimum of 2 wars against that ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't get that. And yet it's like, what the fuck is wrong? Those kids that are out there dressed as Nazis, their grandparents went out and did that. How do you think they're going to feel? That probably turning over in their graves, so to speak. But
the Civil War was a different name to the same issue. Nazis are a different name to the same issue. It's people who look at others and just want to be angry for any reason. They don't give a shit what it is. And they'll pick out whatever it is. It'll be race. It'll be gender, because we have people like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson who just hate women in general. And they'll hate you for any reason. It's just that's the mentality.
I can't imagine being that way, dude. I can't imagine being that way.
I can't. It's such a huge waste of energy. It exhausts me even thinking about it.
I know. And hello, Prophet of Zod, who popped in the chat saying, well, what about the children? Which is all they're screaming about with the whole safe places for women and wanting allowing trans. It's like, come on. The children are fine.
I'm a proud owner of a pew pew. I carry my pew pew with me everywhere I go. But I'm gonna give you a story. And this just happened last week. No shit. There's a local Walmart that I go to. In that Walmart, there is a Subway. I had gotten done shopping and I had gone to Subway and I'd had a sandwich. I'm sitting there eating, minding my business. It's peaceful. People understand how to, behave in society most of the time.
Sure.
Guy comes back into the store apparently because the very small girl behind the counter messed up his sandwich. And 0 to 100. This dude just went from quiet to 100% attitude. He didn't stop politely and ask him to fix it. He wasn't nice at all. He just went right off to screaming off the bat. And this girl, you could tell immediately did not want to work with him. She didn't want to fix his sub. She wanted to throw it at him and tell him to get the fuck out of the store. And I put up for all of about 30 seconds. And he kept asking her repeatedly, why aren't you helping me? Don't you want to do your job? And I screamed at him. I said, dude, she doesn't want to fucking help you because you're being a prick. Would you want to help you? And it actually got to damn near trading blows. We got in each other's face.
Oh, really?
That's the first time I have almost been in a fight since I was 19 years old. 20 years, not a problem until this one jackass in the fucking store. And people will be angry about the dumbest shit. And they will go to the absolute. I was angry because he was being physically or not physically, but verbally abusive to another person who didn't deserve it. He was angry because he felt inconvenienced. He felt offended and slighted, like somebody had done him wrong in some meaningful way. And he felt that justified him being a shithead to another human being.
Yeah.
That said, I had my gun on my hip. It didn't even occur to me once to put my hand anywhere near it.
Right. Yeah, because
that's
it's not
emotional
abusive to pull
maturity
it out.
and common sense. And so while I am pro-gun, saying stupid people shouldn't have guns. Period.
Right. So you're also, I guess, then pro-better gun laws then. Pro-better probing of people to own them, right? That's what we do here in Canada.
I have a solution that I think would work better. You get a lot of these people on the left who want to ban guns. You get a lot of the people on the right who think shall not be infringed actually means something. The answer is really simple. It's almost a middle ground solution, but not quite. One federal license that supersedes all state law. That federal license requires a background check, a mental health screening, a look at your posts on social media, and it recycles every 5 years. But in order to maintain that license every year, you have to do a minimum number of hours of training at a facility.
That's totally
because
reasonable.
The worst thing I've seen with gun owners is the dumbass that doesn't know what he's doing.
Yep.
Which
seems to be a good chunk of them.
He's gym short with a polyester holster clipped to the front side of his. I've seen really dumb people who should not be around firearms at all. It takes every ounce of strength I have in public not to go to someone's ass because they're carrying a polyester holster on their fucking dumb.
Oh, Spooky Bed Hair thinks we look like a father and son team.
Hi, Daddy.
Yeah, right.
So here, for instance, two holsters. This is a leather holster. It does not have a retention switch. I never carry with this holster, ever, because I don't trust it. This has a retention switch. If I don't push the button right here, it will not let go of the trigger guard. And so nobody can come and yank the thing off of me. This is the responsible way to carry a firearm.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Not an AR-15 strapped to your chest like a retard.
No.
Just carry a pistol and goddamn use your fucking head. Common sense.
Also, I don't think we should use words like retard. Just FYI. A little on the ableist side.
We will disagree. Agree to disagree. I don't. It's everything to me is context. It's how you use a word that makes it good or bad. With the exception of the N-word, because I'm white and there's no way I could possibly use that word in a good way.
Right. Well, yeah.
But for instance, I used to be a truck driver. There's this thing called the Jake brake.
Yep.
The actual technical definition or technical wording for what the Jake brake is an engine retarder.
Right.
How you use a word descriptively makes it good or bad. If I refer to a person a mentally disabled or challenged individual with that word, then I deserve to be knocked the fuck out on the spot. That's rude. It's mean. It's cold. It's just terrible to do that. But if I have a friend who holds a firecracker in his hand until it goes off and then bitches about it at the hospital, well, fair game. Or an object, an inanimate object, being referred to as retarded. To me, words are just words. It's all about context. George Carlin said it best. There's no such thing as a bad word, only bad context. It's the meaning
love my
of the
Carlin.
word that makes it good or bad.
Sure, but I think there are specific words I just don't think should be used. Even if we intend them in the correct context. I just think some words that no matter what you do, people are going to look at it and go, you know what? That's an ableist word, and I don't think it should be used. If you want to use it in the fashion of the truck Jake break, that's one thing. Because people often use the word, this mechanism retards this mechanism from going any further or something like that, and that's fine. But I don't think we should refer to people being that way. Call them an idiot, a moron, stuff like that. I think that's the one we should leave out. That's like the new N-word, in my opinion. Anyways.
Again, there are some things we can always agree to disagree on.
Sure, of course. That's going to happen with anybody you meet anyway. So, but,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, it's like, to me, fuck is my favorite word. It is my all-time favorite word. I love that word. I use it constantly. But it has different contexts. It has different meanings. If I walk through my living room, I stub my toe and I say, fuck, that hurt. It's inanimate. It's not directed at any group of people or any one person individually. But if I walk up to somebody and call them a fuckhead, well, then they should take offense to it because that's how I meant it. Be offended.
Right.
That was the goal. How we use words matters.
Sure, it does. Absolutely. All right.
You're not the first person to disagree with me about the R word or retarded. I understand.
All right. Would you ever consider maybe recanting that sort of vocabulary? Like taking it, just say, you know what, maybe
I would need to hear a better argument than it just hurts people's feelings.
Well, my friend, Prophet of Zod says, calling a person a retard is using mental ability as a slur.
Oh, see, now that's a better argument. I haven't heard that one yet.
Right? Because for many, many years, even when I was a kid growing up, we had a Down syndrome kid that lived in the neighborhood. And every day kids would walk by and go, oh, yeah, the retards come out to play. Right? And they would go play with them. And we didn't think anything of it because that's just what people referred to the little dude as. But I have not called somebody that.
As to why people use that, why they think that word. I'm still confused as how that word became a negative word.
Because it was used as a negative slur towards people with mental disabilities.
I figured I never understood it as that way. I always understood it as like a descriptor. I never understood it as a slur.
Well, descriptors in some cases can be slurs, right? Like calling a gay guy a faggot, right? Like if you call a gay guy a faggot,
right?
That's a descriptor. It's also a slur. Unless you're talking about a cigarette.
I take on the moniker. I take on the moniker of half faggot. The words don't bother me. I've never been called something that I was offended by.
I know. I'm the same. You can call me whatever you want. It doesn't bother me. But I'm a Gen Xer, so that's pretty normal for Gen Xers. But
I'm a Zennial, I think is what they call it.
Yeah. Zillennial or Zennial. Yeah. Between the Gens and the Millennials. Whatever happened to Generation Y? Wasn't there a generation?
Elder Millennial?
Something like that. And then you get folks
I was
like
born
my
in
friend.
82, so that puts me at the ass end of Gen X and at the beginning of Millennial. So, like, I don't know.
I was born in 1966. I like my friend Joseph. I'm gay and I hate the word queer. So there you go, right? Of course, there's going to be a lot of personal ties to many of these things.
Well,
obviously.
I mean, queer was actually used as a slur at one point, but now I think the LGBTQ community has taken that word back and used it to describe people who may not necessarily fall into gay, lesbian, bi, or trans. Like I'm pansexual, right. So technically I would be queer.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm with Zod on that for sure. Like calling a person a retard is using mental ability or disability as a slur, right? So
right,
that's kind of why.
So that's,
you won't hear me use it to describe a person.
That's the best argument I've heard. I've never heard anybody phrase it that way. So I will reconsider my position on the word.
Good for you. That's what I like to hear, man. See, and I find that with people who are at least
we've all got to be open to learning new things. We can't just always
course.
assume we're right 100% of the time.
Exactly. Of course. Well, I usually am, but no, I'm kidding. But I missed on being a baby boomer by this much. Yeah, that's right. Because 64, I think, is the kind of the borderline. 64, 65 blend there is the borderline. So yeah, I'm an old school Gen Xer.
My mom was born in 62. I think she's a boomer. My dad was born in 53. He's a boomer.
Oh, he's a boomer.
I'm pretty sure you probably fall into that Gen X. So yeah, you're good.
Yeah, Ollie, my buddy Ollie says, yeah, Gen X starts in 65. So there you go. Yeah.
I hate getting older. Like, honestly, it's like once a month, something reminds me of how old I'm getting. It's like, what was it? A couple years ago, it was the 25th anniversary of a Spice Girls song that #1 in the top charts in like 1997. And I just fucking got pissed. I just had a bad day for the rest of the day. It's like, I'm old.
Yeah. If you want to be my lover, you gotta get with me. Right. Yeah. And I think that was early. I think it was like 95 or 6.
Was it 95 or 6? I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm not a Spice Girls fan, so
long ago.
Fucking know. Yeah. Back in the old days.
I was a fan of the Spice Girls in the sense that I wanted to sleep with at least one of them. But I was a teenager when they were popular, so that's my excuse. Right. Raging hormones.
Yeah. 48.
I think it was Sporty Spice.
Sporty Spice? Oh yeah, you had the crush on her.
Yeah, it was either Sporty Spice or it was the redhead.
Oh my, you're Gen X? I didn't know that. There's no way. I would have thought you were way younger than that. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, I'm a Gen Xer, total latchkey kid, drinking out of the garden hose, didn't give a shit. Oh, you got to cut, put some dirt on it.
How was the water out of the garden hose colder than the water out of the faucet? I never understood that.
I have no idea. But it always was, right?
Yeah, it always was, and it always tasted cleaner than the water out of the faucet.
Yeah. And man, in summertime, hook up the sprinkler and run through the fucking sprinkler. That was the shit.
Lay a tarp on the lawn, and then you know,
slip and slide
until you hit a rock.
Yeah. yeah, and it hurts really bad. It also hurts much worse depending on where you get hit with that fucking rock too. So maybe stick the palm olive liquid soap, put on a tarp, burn the water, and just slip and slide.
Yep. So we invented the slip and slide in my generation.
Well, we were doing it too.
Kind of. It was somewhere between yours and mine.
I think my dad telling me stories of when they used to do it too when they were kids. They would take like a bunch of garbage bags and tape them together and then run soap and stuff. So, oh yeah. And he's a boomer.
I never heard that one. My old man grew up on a farm where basically like he worked from dusk till dawn. Like my old man didn't have a childhood. So like my old man's version of fun was building a race car out of junk and crashing it. Like
what? Ruin our lives by what? Come on. People out there in social media trying to ruin our lives by pointing out how old iconic phenomena of their youth are. We're trying to point out just how fun that shit was. That and bumper skiing.
I mean, my childhood was rocky. I'm not going to make shit up. Like, my childhood was rocky as fuck. But I had moments where, like, I can remember being ecstatically happy or having a lot of fun. And the homemade tarp slip and slide was one of the greatest things of all time.
Yeah. My friend used to take, you remember Big Wheels? I actually don't. Yep. I just remembered him. We were talking about this the other day. He goes, "So you remember what I used to do to the big wheels? Because they were plastic wheels, so they would wear out really quickly. Yep. You pull that lever and you slide, and that shit would wear out, and you'd have to replace the wheels." He used to take. He had his dad ran a tire shop, so he used to take all the old tire rubber and fucking fuse them together and wrap them around the big wheel, so they actually had tire rubber on his fucking big wheel. Didn't slide as easily, but fuck, you could go over anything with that.
Now they have 3-wheelers that are like high-powered drift cars.
Yeah.
They do some wild shit now.
Some dude built a legitimate gigantic big wheel with a motor in it and everything. That. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
All right, let's go. One more hashtag coins there, guys. So drink up. That's our game. Coins drinking game.
Oh,
my phone makes Mario coin noises, so we just hashtag coin and you drink. It's that simple.
I ran out of fluid.
Oh, did you? Oh, that sucks. Shit, you just reminded me too. I ran out of lighter fluid. I got to pick some more of that up.
I just filled my Zippos yesterday.
Well, I did mine a couple days ago. I got a little bit left, probably another load in there, and then I got to pick up another can of the shit. Anyways, Ethan, I think we should wrap this up and get into an after party. We're going to take a little bit of a break.
All right.
Between the two shows. So if anyone would like to jump in and hang out with us, you're more than welcome to. Just send me a message on Twitter or Facebook. If you're not on Twitter, you know where I am on Facebook. Send me a message there, and I'll give you a link. You can jump in here with Ethan and me. And yeah, we'll hang out and have some fun for a little while. Ethan, thanks so much for joining me for today, man. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. Is it just another link you're going to send then, or?
Yeah, it'll be a brand new one because I have it actually, sort of. I set them up separately, so it is going to be a different link, just so that people get notifications of both of them, so they're not all clung together as one video.
Copy that.
Yeah, I will. What I will do is I'll drop it in the private chat. Oh, there. I'm just going to get rid of that because we're almost done here anyways. I will drop it in the private chat. I'm just going to take a copy of the link there, and I will throw it over in the private chat. If you want to click on that, you can go wait and just get yourself in the room and then hang out and wait till we get back. It's there now if you want.
Copy that.
Yeah. All right. And thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you kind of went all robot-y on me there for a minute, but yeah, I got the gist. Yeah, fuck, it was great having you on, dude. And everyone out there on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, thanks so much for hanging out. Hope you guys had a good time and found the story to be somewhat interesting. Also, thanks to our amazing patrons. And we have memberships now, guys. So if you want to be a member of the channel, you get all kinds of cool little things like emojis and stuff you can use, and you can pick on people in the chat and stuff like that. Although I don't, I'm not trying to, say that's okay. But sometimes we get assholes in the chat, and you can take care of them. And because most of my fucking members are moderators, anyways. But thanks everyone. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. All the links for our guests are in the description box below. I will be adding an Instagram one a little bit later, so you can follow TikTok and you can follow Ethan on Twitter as well. All right, if you just want to hang out in the chat, there's a link to the after party in the description box below. You can hang out with us and make fun of us, and I'll put up all kinds of funny things on the screen. And yeah, until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the after party, or at the end of the interview, like the late, great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.